Okay, so welcome to lecture once again, everyone. Now, in this lecture, I'll be talking about a small project with respect to a SQL called as inventory management. Now, so inventory management is a crucial part or integrated part of any supply chain system. You all will be able to find out if you don't know. And if you have already worked, so obviously you must be aware about it. We are not going to see the scale, the kind of a scale that we see in a real life with a big product. But yeah, so we are going to do it on a small scale so that as a learner, I will be able to understand, and going forward, I will be able to do some sort of a implementation with respect to the same thing. Now, so let me share my screen, and I would like to show you the ER diagram. So entity relations diagram that I have created for all of you. So here inside this diagram, you will be able to find out a central part, which is nothing but a product table. Now, everything we are going to derive from the product table. For example, we have a product ID, product name, category ID, supplier ID, unit price, unit in stocks, unit in order, reorder, label, and a discontinued for a particular product. And around this product, so we have a product supplier, right? So someone is going to supply a product, someone is going to maintain or categorize a product, and we have basically someone is going to purchase the product, and someone is going to capture the entire sales basically, right? So what kind of a sales which has happened basically. So this entire project is going to revolve around this 5 table, and here so you will be able to find out one to many kind of a relationship. So here you will be able to see that we have a category table and we have a product table. Now, if you will look closely between a category and a product table, so there is a one to many relation, means one category can have a multiple product. This is what it means. So one categories can have a multiple product. Similarly, so one supplier can supply a many product. This is what it means. One supplier can supply a multiple product. Now here, if you will go and check, so one product, right? One product can have a multiple sales. That's also possible. And again, over here, so one product can have a multiple purchases. So this is the relationship between product and purchase table. This is the relationship between product and a sales table. And now, if you will look over here, so one supplier can have a many purchases. Depends, right? Depends. So this is the complete ER diagram which I have created, and this is going to give me a visual understanding that, okay, what we are going to do, what we are going to achieve after this entire project, that we are going to do it. Now, so inside this project, I have to attach couple of more things. So I have to attach maybe a trigger. I have to attach views inside this project so that whenever someone will come, right, and they will be looking for some sort of a report, so they will be able to fetch those report from a view table. So we are going to create all of those things, but before that we have to create a table, and we have to keep some sort of information or some sort of a data inside a table. So based on this entire ER diagram, right, based on this entire ER diagram, so let's go ahead and let's try to create a table one by one, one by one. So I'm going to take a new sheet over here, Control S, and then I'm going to name it as a inventory underscore inventory management. Okay. Now here, so first of all, what we are supposed to do, so we are supposed to technically create a multiple table. So the very first table that we have to create is a category table. So okay, let's try to do it. And again, so we have done this kind of operation multiple times, so I'm not going to write a code from the scratch, because we know how to create a table, we know how to insert the data inside a table. So here, create table categories, and before that, yeah, so before that, so we have to create a database. So here, let's try to create a database, by the way, guys. So create database inventory. Okay. So this is the database I'm going to create, and I will be using this database. So use inventory. Okay. So fine, I'm going to use this particular database. So here I'm trying to create a category table, and I believe we all understand this entire part, because this is the region. So we have taken so many chapters, right? So we have gone through so many chapters. So category ID, auto increment, primary key, fine. And again, so here I'm trying to put engine is equal to InnoDB, but by the way, anyhow, your engine is going to be InnoDB. So we don't have to worry about this one. Now, the second table I'm going to create over here is a supplier table. Yeah, so supplier table. So there will be a supplier ID in an auto increment way. then supplier name, supplier contact name, supplier phone number, supplier email and supplier address will be available. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this one. So here, if you will come once again, so this category and this supplier is done. Yeah, this category and this supplier is done. Okay, now, so this category and this supplier is a complete independent table. There is no relationship we have in between, because I'm using I'm not using a foreign key relation over here. Okay, so here we have basically like a categories and we have basically supplier over here. Now let's try to create a product table. So product table wise, let's go ahead and try to create a product ID, then product name, then category ID, then supplier ID. So this category ID and supplier ID will come from this one and this one, table number 1, table number 2 that we have created. So category ID and the supplier ID, then unit price for the product, unit in stock, unit on order, reorder label, discontinued, so boolean true or false. Yeah, and then we are trying to establish a connection that, okay, so we have a category ID from which is referring to a category ID from the category table, and we have a supplier ID which is referring to a supplier ID into a supplier table. Fine. So this is a product table we are able to create. Okay, that's also good. So we are able to create the product table. Now once this product table is done, right, once this product table is done, then the remaining part is basically a sales table and a purchase table. So sales table, which is going to capture the sales information. So here create a sales table, and sales ID we have, product ID we have, quantity we have, sales date, and product ID is referring to a product ID from the product table. Yeah, product ID is referring to a product ID from the product table. Okay, that's again amazing. So let me create this one, product table. So product table has been created. Fine. Now there is a last table, which is a purchase table we are going to create. So here again purchase ID and then product ID, supplier ID, which is like a connected to a product table and the supplier table respectively. Then purchase date, and that's it. Let's try to create it. Okay, so all this 5 table are done. Now if I'm going to refresh and if I'm going to check this table, so categories, product, purchase, sales and supplier, this is done. Now I can try to even go to database and I can try to call a reverse engineering and call next, and select a inventory, the database that we have created, and then next, and then next, and then execute, and then next, finish. Yeah. So here you will be able to find out the same ER diagram, which has been like, calculated, or which has been populated out of basically the table that we have created. Yeah. So this entire diagram is getting populated from the real table that we have created so far, And this is how this entire things are like, attached to each other, as we can see. Yep. So from product table, so we have almost all the 4 table are connected somehow. And then from a supplier table, so yeah, supplier to a product table and purchase table is connected. From a purchase table to supplier and the product is connected, and so on. This is something that we have discussed even over here, right? Even over here. So we have discussed the exact same thing, even in this ER diagram. So I'm talking about the exact same thing, by the way. Okay, that's amazing. So we are successfully able to create a model, a data model. This is something called as data modeling. So whenever you will be like doing something in a Power BI or maybe a Tableau, so even over there, we do a lot of data modeling, right? We do a lot of like data modeling even over there. So data modeling is nothing new. Always we try to do it. And even in case of a SQL, we try to do a data modeling, or even when we try to design a new product. For example, if I'm designing a Euron system, and we have a lot of things in a Euron system, right? So even though we are going to design maybe a job system, so obviously we try to design the complete schema, starting from a user login, a flow, navigations, job showcasing, changing the status, many things, right? Many things. So this is our very first part that we all used to do. And here with the help of this ER diagram, so I'm able to write a simple create table statement, and I'm able to do it. Very simple. Yeah, I'm able to do it. So anyone who has given you the ER diagram, so based on the ER diagram, I think we all will be able to understand that what is the relation and what is the communication or connection in between. Okay, so ER is done. So now once ER is done, what we can do is we can try to go ahead with the trigger. Yeah, we can go ahead with the trigger. So there is a requirement which is given to me that you have to create a triggers. I believe we have already studied a triggers. So trigger is nothing but on some event. If you have to do something, then you call trigger, right? On some event, if you have to do something, you just try to call a trigger. So here we are going to create a couple of triggers, right? Couple of triggers for a stock management. So we have basically a product table, and inside this product table, so we have unit in stock. Yeah, we have unit in stock. Now to do this stock management, so we are going to, do a triggers that whenever stock is going up, whenever going down, stock should never like show negative, many things, right? Many things. So for that, we are going to create a triggers, and we are going to create a triggers based on our existing understanding. So I have already taught you, and if you have not gone through a trigger class, please go ahead and join a trigger class, because over there I have written a trigger from the scratch. Simple. Yeah, scratch. Now here, so I'm trying to create a trigger after sale insert. I'm trying to create a trigger called as after sale insert, and then here, so create a trigger with this name. Now after insert on a sales. So once we are going to insert some information into a sales, so after that, just try to call this trigger. Now what this trigger will do, so it will try to update a product. So what it will do with the product, so it will try to update the product. So set unit in stock is equals to unit in stock minus new quantity. So for example, I'll try to explain you that, right? I'll try to explain you that part. Just a minute. Yeah. So see, we have a sales table. Yeah, we have a sales table, and inside the sales table, right? Inside the sales table, you will be able to see a quantity. So let's suppose if I'm trying to sell a product, and I have sold maybe like 5 quantity was available, and I sold 2 quantity. Yeah, I sold 2 quantity. So if I sold 2 quantity, right? If I sold 2 quantity, so what I'm trying to do, so I'm trying to update some of the other table automatically. Now, which table I'm trying to update? So basically, if if there is a record which has been updated inside the sales, right? After insertion into the sales record. So here, try to update a product and the unit in stock, because inside this product, right? So inside this product, we have unit in stock. So obviously if something is been sold, right? If something is been sold, so after that unit in stock is not going to be same. It is going to reduce, right? So we are reducing it. So unit in stock is equals to new quantity. So whatever quantity which has been sold, where product ID is equals to new product ID. So based on this condition, I'm trying to update the product table. Simple, right? I'm trying to update the product table. So this is one of the trigger which will be invoked automatically. So this is one of the trigger which will be called automatically. So execute, and then with a product table. So I'm going to attach this particular, with a sales table, I'm going to attach, right? So after sales insert, so with the sales table, we are going to initialize the trigger. Okay, that's done. Now, so the second trigger which I would like to create, which should invoke itself automatically, because this is the nature of trigger, right? Trigger invokes automatically. So here, create triggers after purchase insert. So after insertion on a purchase, so if some record has been updated inside the purchase, right? So here, update the product. So unit in stock is equals to unit in stock plus a new quantity. So if something is been inserted into a purchase, so in that case, your unit into a stock is equals to unit in a stock plus a new quantity. Simple. So we have to update once again. So here we have a purchase. Yeah, we have a purchase. So if we have purchased something, it simply means that I'm trying to increase stock in my inventory, right? I'm trying to increase stock in my inventory. So I'll try to do what? I'll try to add a new quantity. Simple. So quantity will be added and quantity will be removed. Simple. And based on that, so I'm trying to update my tables. Now, so the another one is, right? Another one is this one. Another one is basically this one. So here I'm trying to create a trigger before sale insert. So before inserting into the sales table, so before insert on a sales, for each row, if, right, this is the condition which has been written, that if select unit in stock from the product where product ID is a new product ID, right? So if this is a true, means if this is true, so select unit in stock from the product where product ID is equal to new ID and signal SQL status is equal to 4500. Then simply try to say that not enough stock for this particular sale which is available. So whatever like stock that you are looking for, I don't have that particular stock, maybe lesser than that, or maybe I have a zero stock. Simple. So in this manner, it will be able to trigger before sale insert, right? Before sale insert, it will try to trigger this one. If this is the case, yeah. So now let's create this particular trigger as well. So once this trigger is created, now let's go ahead and let's try to do what? So let's try to do basically another operation. So there is another operation, a last operation, right? So there is another operation which I would like to perform over here called as view operation. So I would like to create a view, so where anyone and everyone will be able to see the sales report, by the way. Yeah. So anyone and everyone will be able to see the sales report. So, so that, you know, anyone can access our view table and they will be able to see the sales report in a easiest possible manner. Let's go ahead, create it. So let's go and create a view inside this database. Okay. So view wise, here we have a monthly sales report, right? Monthly sales report is a view. And here, so what we are trying to do, so we are trying to select a sales date as a sales month. We are trying to extract basically like a month out of it. We are trying to select a product ID. We are trying to select a product name, by the way. We are trying to select a quantity, right? And we are trying to select a quantity into a unit price. So that I can calculate the total sales amount. So these are the things which I'm going to give you as a report. If you're looking for something more, obviously I can give you that report, but yeah. So ideally I'm going to give you a sales month. I'm going to give you a product ID. I'm going to give you a product name. I'm going to give you a total quantity sold. I'm going to give you a total amount, right? For which you have sold. And that is going to give you like a complete overview, a complete idea that, okay, so this is the sales which we have done. From the sales table, we are joining a product table, right? We are trying to join the product table. So till this point, so we are trying to perform the join operation. We have done the join operation so many times, so I'm not writing it from the scratch. And then group by a sales month and product ID, right? And a product name, and order by a sales month in the descending order, total sales amount into a descending order. So this is the operation we are going to perform, which is going to give me a finally view. So execute, refresh, and yeah, I will be able to get a sales view. So as a sales month, product ID, product name, total quantity, and a total sales amount. So anyone and everyone who is going to query my view, they will be able to get the final report out of it. And this is the final objective that we had. Okay, so now start inserting a sample data. So one by one in all the tables. So I have already prepared some sample data. We are going to insert it. So let's try to insert this data into all of this table. Yeah. So data insertion is done. Now what I will do is that I will try to query my view. So select star from monthly sales report, and let's see whether we are able to see some sales report or not. So yeah, we are able to see some sales report. So we are able to sell basically how much. So we are able to sell. So we are able to sell product ID 1, product ID 2, and sales month on a 6 month as per the data set which we have. So total quantity was 5, total sales amount was this one. So this was something that we were looking for, and finally we are able to get this particular part. So monthly sales report we are able to generate out of this one, which is like pretty much easy, right? Which is pretty much easy. And in between, so whenever I'm going to perform any kind of operation, so trigger will be involved automatically. So if I would like to insert some sort of a record, if I'm going to insert some sort of record into like a purchase table or maybe a product table or maybe a sales table, so automatically it is going to invoke the trigger. So this was the overall project or maybe overall things that we were looking for from this inventory one, right? Inventory one. So where obviously we are trying to use a create table statement. We are trying to use views over here. We are trying to use a trigger And once I'm going to combine each and everything, eventually I'm able to create this entire database. Simple and solid and a beautiful database. We are able to create it out of this one, right? Get out of this one. Now, so maybe the next step can be that I can try to convert, or I can try to access this entire things, right, through my UI interface, through a Python or something, some interface. I can try to access it, and then one by one I can do the transaction. That is pretty much like a possibility that we have, and that I'm going to show you in a immediate next lecture. So where what I will do, I'll try to create a proper beautiful UI, and I will be able to check all of these records just with the help of UI. I will be able to check even like a report. I will be able to insert even a record inside all of these tables, right? All of these tables. So with that, thank you so much everyone. Take care, and see you again in my upcoming chapter.